Hi and welcome. This is Pat Duckworth, the author of Hot Women Rock, How to Discover Your Midlife Entrepreneurial Mojo. And it's part of the joy of my life to discover new entrepreneurs that I haven't met before and to interview them so you can find out about them and learn from their amazing journeys. So my guest today is all the way from Australia. It's the first today is Australia. And from cancer to making history, saving $1 billion industry from ruin, my guest today is an award-winning strategist and best-selling author. She's the mission mentor, and she helps entrepreneurs and visionaries clarify and monetize their life's big mission so that they can make a bigger impact, transform the world, and build their legacy. Her intuitive, visionary strategy skills have made her the secret weapon of politicians, business owners, social entrepreneurs, social innovators, thought leaders, and an entire industry body. Wow. So it's a big Hot Women Rock welcome to Nicola Grace. Hi, Nicola.
Hi, Pat. Thanks. I love it. Hot Women Rock. That's awesome.
We definitely do. So, I want to find out all about your journey to being this woman with superpowers today. So where did it all start out for you?
If we're talking about a woman with superpowers, it all started out when I was a kid and I was a gymnast. And I had this, seriously, it really did. I had this experience where I was doing a backflip. And I got carried through time and space. And, long story short of it, I'm standing there scratching my head going, what just happened? And it was then that I really started developing an interest in quantum physics, because I realized there's something that goes on beyond what we're taught at school, beyond the linear, beyond Newtonian physics. And I wanted to learn all about that. So I started a spiritual journey, a quantum physics journey, to learn all about my capabilities as a human being. And then how that rolled out was I was always looking to be that in my work and in my career, and floundered. Was a serial entrepreneur for 30 years, and it really took me 25 years before I actually found my second act, which is actually my ninth act, really. I've done a lot. And then, when I worked with the natural health industry with the strategy, helped them beat back legislation that was essentially going to close them down. And that was where everything started coming together, like my whole interest in being able to achieve the extraordinary, the spiritual, versus the need to feel like I was passionate and on purpose and driven was something that I really cared about. And then I just started to transform what I learned there and the secret sauce to, what I learned throughout that whole strategy into business and working with entrepreneurs so they could find that. I call it mission mojo. So it's interesting you mentioned mojo at the beginning. They can find that mission mojo, that place within them that when they align to certain elements within their purpose and they get mission driven, they've got their business set up, they're unleashing that mojo so that they're beginning to create the extraordinary and they're changing the world.
Wow. I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to go back. Gosh, right, okay. So tell me about some of your early businesses then. Did you ever work in a corporate or a big industry, or did you just come straight in and become an entrepreneur?
I did in London, funnily enough. My first career was as a history teacher, because I always felt like teaching, I wanted to teach. I knew that I've known that for the longest time, that I wanted to teach and I wanted to travel the world. So when I got to London, I had traveled a substantial amount of the world, and I had taught, and that wasn't really cool. I followed my passion for dance, so I was actually in London auditioning for the London Contemporary School of Dance for during a summer school there, and then out of that I really went, I don't want to be skinny anymore. I don't want to be anorexic anymore. I wasn't that anorexic, but definitely my mindset was like that. I want to actually eat. And then I didn't know what to do, so I started temping, and I landed a job in the press office of Channel 4 Television, which then landed me a job at ITN's press office, and then I got a job back at Channel 4 in production. And so I was really interested in that, and then went into the whole corporate public relations for a while, just as a temp. And that was pretty much it. I did a little bit of a stint with a merchant bank, but I'm unemployable. I mean, I've known that for the longest time, because I just get half-wits as bosses that don't know what they're doing. So I don't feel like they have earned the right to lead me. So I won't lead them, which makes me a really bad employee. So I had to go out and, start doing stuff for myself and have my own business. So I worked in corporate video production and education videos. And that's basically where, I started to go, right, having a business is the only way for me.
So now you work a lot with social entrepreneurs. Can you tell us a bit about that, what that means for you and what it means to them?
Sure. I mean, social entrepreneur is a relatively new term for the kind of entrepreneur that goes into business to shift a social problem, to make a dent in it, make an impact there, or an environmental problem. I mean, most notable social entrepreneur, in fact, the very first, I would say, that paved the way for social entrepreneurship was Anita Roddick of the Body Shop.
Yeah, right? Great example.
Yeah. And she was really the first to take activism into an entrepreneurial field and entwine that into her business. And she was very successful at it, obviously. And there have been many. I mean, Richard Branson, another Brit, is another notable social entrepreneur, Elon Musk. And then there's the coaching industry, a whole lot of social entrepreneurs in the coaching industry doing coaching and transformation programs that are shifting mainstream thinking and bringing about a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of loving, a new way of moving in the world. So the majority of social entrepreneurs today are either in innovative technology and business or in the transformation, education, coaching field. And then there are those that are in the environment, working with the environment, but it's interfacing with technologies, like all these amazing technologies out there that do some pretty freaky things.
Yeah. So the $1 billion industry that you helped to save, tell us a bit about that.
Natural health industry of New Zealand. They were working against legislation that was going through Parliament for Australia and New Zealand to form a corporation in Australia that would be run and funded by the pharmaceutical mafia, and then they would get to regulate themselves, plus they would get to regulate the natural health industry. And they basically would have carte blanche to create whatever rules and regulations that they wanted to do. So there was a very loose framework for the pharmaceutical mafia, but a very tight framework for the natural health industry. That legislation had passed in Australia. They were waiting for it to pass into law in New Zealand, and it had passed all but 2 of 3 readings when I came along. And so for 7 years, they tried to beat back that legislation, and it just kept going through. And then I came up with a strategy, and I was with my naturopath in the office. This is the second time I'd been diagnosed with cancer. She was telling me all about it. And I went, well, that can't happen. In fact, I don't think that did happen. And I think I had a role to play in that. So she got me a meeting in front of a couple of industry bodies that were meeting. And I rolled out a strategy. And I says, I think this is the winning strategy. They had no other option but to back me at that stage, because within a couple of weeks, they said that it would get passed into law. And pure grace that meeting never happened. It didn't get passed within 2 weeks. We had 6 months, and within 6 months we toppled over the legislation and got it thrown out of Parliament.
That's just amazing. We could probably spend the whole 20 minutes talking about that.
I know. You notice how I didn't say the pharmaceutical industry. I called it the pharmaceutical mafia, because
I did notice that.
That is how they behave. They're very anti-competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. And just very briefly then, you touched on the fact that you've been diagnosed with cancer twice. Are you well now?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
That's excellent. And
thanks to the natural health industry.
Well, that's so good to hear. So Oh, that's wonderful. So this is Pat Duckworth talking to Nicola Grace, and we're talking about social entrepreneurship and, well, Nicola's amazing entrepreneurial journey as well. Now, I know that you help your clients, your social entrepreneurs, to find their purpose and to work with their purpose. And this is something that's really dear to me as well. So tell me a bit about that process that you go through with your clients.
Yeah, I think to me, when you're going into a business today, especially because, just recently the Elderman Trust Barometer has said 50% of the adult population want to feel a sense of purpose in their purchase. So they don't just want to exchange money for goods and services anymore. They want to feel like they're contributing to the greater good. So I think purpose is really important in your business, regardless, right? Regardless of, if you want to be passionate and you want to be happy, then, obviously you want to be connected to your purpose in your business, but you also need that, because very soon you won't be able to make sales without having some kind of contribution to the greater good. So I have an inside out approach to that. It's like, if you're going to start a business and you come to me with an idea and you go, is it going to work? Should I go down that path? I go, well, hang on a second. What are you here to do? What are you really here for? And what are the elements within your purpose that we can bring forward to give us ideas as to why you should be in business and how to go into business and how to put your business model together. And then we'll pull that from outside and we'll create the business model based on that soul connection to why you're really on the planet. And I find that when we do that, there's something mystical happens, and all of a sudden you'll start getting these things happen around you that come drawing to you, and you'll get signs or you'll get phone calls from people out of the blue that are helping you start moving in that direction already. So that's where I came up with this idea of leveraging purpose. You have purpose in your business and you can leverage the results you get because you're pulling in this universal attraction, attractive factor, I call it, or you could call it the law of attraction,
Yeah.
Really the law of attraction, but it's some kind of an attractive factor that happens at that soul level, and that's going to make it so much easier. And I'm not going to say it's not effortless, because I think building a business does require effort, and that's part and parcel of the learning experience and growing as an entrepreneur, growing as a business owner. You're going to have those hurdles. But it does happen a lot more joyously, for sure, a lot more passionately. And you have those magical moments where it just all aligns, it falls into place, and it runs smoothly for a little while until you reach the next hurdle. And then you start all over again.
So can I ask you then, very personally, what's your purpose?
What's my purpose? See, I see purpose and mission as part of your purpose. So I see purpose as being really general. So it's not something that you can bring down to a statement, because it's life unfolding and life evolving. And it's going to include your natural gifts and talents. It's going to include what you're here to do, how you're here to help people, as well as how you're here to grow yourself and the challenges that you're going to go through. But essentially, like the big umbrella concept or the idea is, I feel very strongly that I'm here to bring about the conditions that will bring peace on earth. And the idea of peace goes throughout my whole upbringing. And you'll find that with your big overarching idea, concept of your purpose and your mission, it's everywhere from when you're a kid. Like, I'm the peacemaker in relationships and the peacemaker in my family. I marched every night on a Friday night when I was at university to help make New Zealand nuclear free, and joined the nuclear free peace movement in New Zealand. And now with social entrepreneurship, I see social entrepreneurship is it's collapsing barriers, and it's making people be more collaborative across all sorts of different cultures and creeds, and that can only lead to peace. And the more divisive we are, the more war we will have, and if we switch that around, it's going to become more peaceful.
Fantastic. The other thing, this is going to the other end from that, but you talk about helping entrepreneurs to monetize their idea. And, one of these concepts and one of these phrases that's been batted around in the past few years is about heart-centered businesses. And what worries me about that phrase is it tends to suggest that the money isn't important, it's all about the heart. But of course, to get your message out there, you need the money as well. So I love that you're talking about monetizing it. Can you say a bit more about what you think about that?
Absolutely. And I think you nailed it. You know, it's great to be heart-centered. I think we definitely want to be heart-centered. Who wouldn't want to be that? But if it's either or, while we're in a monetary system, then I don't think we're going to be as effective as we could be, right? Because there's nothing better that could possibly happen for the world than all the money to go into our hands. Out of the elite's hands and in our hands, because we would spend it a lot more wisely and a lot more equitably. And here's this thing about universe: nature abhors a vacuum. And I see so many spiritual, heart-centered people going, money's not important, there's more to life than money. And so they create a vacuum. They go over here and I'm going to do all the fluffy stuff. And then so they create this vacuum. And just as the consciousness movement has been increasing and it's been growing, and we're reaching critical mass, at the same time, greed has been growing. So our lack of attention on money feeds the greed, because we didn't fill the space. We didn't bring our light into the monetary system. We didn't bring our light into the space. We created a gap for the greedy to come in and take more than they actually need. And I think we need to reverse that very quickly. So when I'm looking at helping people monetize, it's not purpose or money or heart and money. It's the two come together, because that will create more powerful change than a whole lot of broke-ass entrepreneurs out there loving what they're doing.
Yeah. Wow, I love that.
Excuse my language.
No, because you can't just use that as an excuse. But I just love that passion for it, because I worry about people who just go, oh yeah, well, I love what I do and the money's not important. It is important, because otherwise how are you going to get that message and all of that purpose out there if you're just kind of getting by from day to day? So yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly. And I see a lot of people whinging and moaning about women's rights, and it's like, don't they have women's rights, and aren't they equal? And when I look at the surveys of men and women coming through my training programs, and I look at what their financial goals are, I would say, and this is really alarming, so I'm going to say this like slowly, I think I'll slow down. 90% of the women coming through have a goal to earn $30,000 to $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
That is just on the poverty line. So their goal is to be poor. That is alarming. That is very, very alarming, especially as we're going forward. We know, one, it doesn't, women live longer. They're more than likely going to outlive their partner. Their partner is more than likely going to leave them for a younger model. And most women, when they go through divorce, end up poorer and less resourced, and especially those that have stayed at home most of their life with children, because they don't have a means to go out and earn money. And so there's this crippling that happens with women when they don't prioritize independence around finances. We're going to live longer and the government isn't going to support us. So our choices and all the freedom and the liberation we've been fighting for, it dwindles as we get older, if we don't have that financial independence and options to be able to, to participate in our own independence. We are going to be dependent. We shift our dependency off of a man onto a government that cares absolutely nothing about the elderly in our society. Our Western society is 100% disgusting in the way it treats its elderly. And most women in our age group are going to live to at least 100, if not 120, according to, all of the studies. And yet they're not planning for that. Like they're planning to be broke for, at 30 to 50K, whether that is in pounds, that's still low. If it's in pounds or in euros, or it's in dollars, you're not planning to earn enough to put away for retirement so that you can support yourself when the government stops paying your pension. And I'm really concerned about that. Women have this idea that men are going to be around forever to support them, and the statistics are that they outlive their men and they end up dying in poverty.
Yeah, this is just so important, and we're seeing the age of retirement getting older and older. I mean, in the UK, it's gone back and back and back, and so many women are seeing this gap, this hole in their pension funds that they'd never planned for. And it's one of the reasons that a lot of women in midlife are turning to being entrepreneurs, which is great, but we need them to be successful entrepreneurs. So,
yes.
I mean, my goal is to earn £1 million a year, because if I earn £1 million a year, I'm going to spend it really well, rather than somebody else who's just going to, you know, invest in arms or whatever, you know.
Exactly.
I'm going to be spreading the love about.
Yeah, exactly. And affecting more people, because you can reinvest in your business, or you can give more to the projects that you really care about. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's the number one reason the money needs to be in the women's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're on the brink of something exciting now. Tell us about your latest new development.
Yeah, talking about giving, I'm launching my Impact 1 Million Lives. Like, I'm a member of B1G1, Buy One, Give One, which is a philanthropic organization, and it marries humanitarian projects that need funding with entrepreneurs and philanthropists who want to incorporate giving into their business. So during the Impact 1 Million Lives, I've got an intention to train 1,000 entrepreneurs into social entrepreneurship, clarify, monetize their missions, get them out there making a really big impact globally. And as a result of that, every time somebody does something in my business, I give money through the B1G1 organization. So it'll look like everybody who opts in to watch my webinar training, I give a day's clean water to a family in Ethiopia. And everybody who watches the end of the webinar, they go all the way to the end, I'm going to gift education to a girl to be rescued out of the sex slave trade and educated so that she doesn't get pulled back into it. And then everybody who decides to come on board with my training, a whole year is going to go to a woman in Africa or Cambodia to have them business educated so they can set businesses up and earn money, raise their family out of poverty so they don't sell their children to the sex slave trade, or the girls, you know, don't have to spend all day helping around the house. They can go to school and get educated, and then we can raise the bottom.
Wow. So if people watching this want to find out more about that, how can they do that?
monetizeyourlifemission.com, and that's where it starts. And when you opt in for that webinar, somebody in Ethiopia is going to have a whole day's worth of clean water. So the idea being, like, if I get a million people or 1,000 people, however much that is, then that means more than one day of water is going to be given to that family. So that's why I'm looking at getting really big numbers through, and then, you know, all the way through to the end, and then just finding those key 1,000 people who really want to get out there and transform the world in a big way, but get paid to do it. So it's not a volunteer job, right?
Yeah.
You're getting paid to do it, and your business is thriving, and so is the planet, therefore, because of your contribution.
That is fantastic. So I'm going to be posting up all the links. Hopefully, as people are watching this, they're seeing the links underneath here and they can be signing up. When does it start?
We're starting on August 7th or 8th, something like that.
Okay, so you'll be watching this before August the 7th and 8th, so you can sign up and you can be part of this amazing project, because I love it. It's just great.
Yeah, and on the page you'll actually see, and you can, if you go to my website nicolagrace.com, I'm going to be posting Impact 1 Million Lives, and you'll see the widgets on there. So every time somebody does something in my business and I'm giving money, it's all automated. You'll actually see how much impact is being made.
Fantastic. Oh, you're doing an amazing job, and I love it, because, you know, giving back and at the same time supporting yourself and making your own future secure. And I think that's where we should be as women entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you so much luck with it. You're going to get those million people signing up. So you're going to be helping all of those people have their clean water and to look after their girls and educate their girls.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you've been really inspired. You're going to sign up, you're going to learn, and you're going to be helping people in the third world. So thank you for watching, and watch out for more of these amazing interviews.